All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a super powerful framework, one that top consultants use to bring order to even the most chaotic projects. It's called the Activity Network Diagram, and trust me, it's going to be your new secret weapon for getting things done with total clarity.
You know that feeling, right? That sinking sensation in your stomach when a project just starts to spiral out of control? Picture this. You're in charge of a big app launch. You've got designers waiting for copy, engineers waiting on designs, and the marketing team is breathing down your neck about a launch date that's getting way too close, way too fast. It's like you're lost in a maze, completely in the dark.
And here's the thing. You can't just work harder to get out of that maze. I mean, throwing more people or pulling all-nighters without a real plan, that just makes the chaos even worse. What you need is a map, a strategic tool that shows you the start, the finish, and every single crucial step along the way. And that's exactly what we're going to build today. So, we're going to approach this just like a top-tier consultant would. First, we'll define the problem, taming that project chaos. Then, we'll introduce the solution, your strategic map. We'll get our hands dirty and actually build the diagram in 5 steps. After that, we'll find the single most important route through it, the critical path. And finally, the fun part. We'll figure out how to unlock efficiencies and make that path even faster. Okay, Section 1, Taming Project Chaos. So let's just call it what it is. In our app launch example, chaos is that hidden dependency you didn't see coming, like the front-end guys being stuck because the back-end API isn't ready. Or, that surprise bottleneck when you realize a third-party tool is way harder to integrate than you thought. This kind of chaos, it creates risk, it wastes money, and it absolutely burns out your team.
So, how do we fight back against this? Well, we stop guessing and we start visualizing. See, a simple to-do list, that just tells you what you have to do. A strategic map, on the other hand, shows you how everything actually connects. That's the game changer. And the tool we use to create that map is the Activity Network Diagram. So, what is it really? In the simplest terms, it's a flow chart for your whole project. But it's so much more than a to-do list. It's a living, breathing picture of how every single task connects. You've got serial paths, that's stuff that has to happen in order. You have to build the foundation before you put up the walls. Then you've got parallel paths, things you can do at the same time, like painting the inside while the landscapers are working outside. This is how we turn that tangled mess into something that actually makes sense. And this is where its power really shines. This diagram forces you and your team to sit down and list out every single activity. It makes you figure out the exact order of things. I mean, you can't have users test a feature that isn't even coded yet, right? So with this visual map, you can suddenly see which tasks are critical, spot bottlenecks before they wreck your schedule, and build a timeline that's actually based in reality. It literally turns you from a reactive firefighter into a proactive strategist.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. How do you actually build one of these? And don't worry, it might sound complicated, but the process is surprisingly straightforward. We're just going to walk through 5 simple steps that you can use on pretty much any project you can think of.
So here's the whole process in a nutshell. Step 1, just brain dump every single task you can think of. Step 2, put them in order and figure out what depends on what. Step 3 is where we get real about timing. We'll touch on that in just a sec. But honestly, it's steps 4 and 5, calculating that critical path and then making it better. That's where the real magic happens. That's where you win.
Now, let's zoom in on step 3, because this is really cool. We don't just guess one number for how long a task will take. Why? Because that's a recipe for disaster. Instead, we use 3. You've got your most optimistic time. That's if the stars align and everything goes perfectly. Then there's the most likely time, which is, your realistic best guess. And finally, the most pessimistic. That's your Murphy's Law number where everything that can go wrong does. This method forces you to think about uncertainty right from the start.
All right, so you've mapped out all your tasks, you've got your time estimates. Now we get to find the single most important piece of information in this entire diagram. And this isn't just some nice-to-have data point. This is the moment we discover the absolute rock-solid minimum time it will take to finish your project.
Okay, so what is the critical path? It's the longest sequence of connected tasks from start to finish. Think of it like the project's spine. If any single task on this path gets delayed by even 1 day, your entire project finish date gets pushed back by 1 day. No exceptions. Other tasks might have some wiggle room, we call that float, but the tasks on the critical path, they have 0 float. They are totally unforgiving. And boom, all of a sudden you have a real number, a hard, calculated value.
So for this project, let's say it's 42 days. That number becomes your anchor to reality. It completely changes how you talk to your boss or your clients. You stop saying things like, we're hoping for next month, and you start saying, the math shows that the absolute earliest we can finish is in 42 days. It's a game changer for managing expectations.
So we've got our map. We know the critical path is 42 days. We're done, right? Not even close. Now the real strategic work starts. Because this diagram isn't just for planning. It's a tool for making things better. Now that we know the path, we can start asking some really smart questions to try and shorten it.
Question number 1, and it's the big one. Where are the bottlenecks? The great thing is your diagram screams them at you. Just look for the longest tasks on your critical path. Those are your prime suspects. So maybe that develop prototype task takes 15 days. Well, guess what? That's your bottleneck. That's the spot where making even a small improvement could have a huge impact on the whole project.
So once you've found that big 15-day task, the next question is simple. Can we break it down? Can we chop up develop prototype into smaller pieces, like wireframing, building the backend, and polishing the UI? A lot of the time, when you break a big task apart, you realize that some of those smaller pieces can actually be done at the same time, and that's how you start shaving days off your timeline. And the last big question is about challenging your own assumptions. Look at the lines you drew connecting all those tasks. Do UI design and backend development really have to happen one after the other? Or maybe the backend team could get started with just the basic wireframes. See, every single task you can move off that one after the other serial path and onto a parallel path is a chance to shorten your critical path and finish faster.
So let's wrap this up. The activity network diagram. It isn't just a chart you make and forget about, it's a tool for thinking. It takes that confusing, tangled mess of a project and turns it into a clear, strategic map. It gives you the power to find your critical path and, more importantly, the control to actually do something about it. So now there's only one question left for you. What tangled project are you going to map out first?